when the left loses. The broadcast begins in 10 seconds. WDBC Internet Television is on. I am an avatar for Michael P. Borgia. The broadcast, originating from deep behind enemy lines, is brought to you by dailyborg.com. Conservative politics for the thoughtful. Resistance is futile. You will be assimilated. Yesterday, Michigan Governor Rick Snyder signed his state's new right-to-work law into the books. Organized labor reacted as one might have expected, with anger and violence that shocked the nation. What does Michigan's action mean for organized labor, for Michigan and for the nation? We'll look at the facts when the broadcast continues.
Engines.
Check.
Thrusters.
Check.
Fuel.
Check.
Computers.
Check.
Social Security.
No check, go direct.
That's right, Patty. A few weeks ago, I went online to godirect.org to sign up for direct deposit. It's easy to do, and I got my cash at warp speed.
Wow, it's fast and easy. I'll sign up right now to make sure I'm prepared for our next mission.
Hands can do incredible things. Now they can even help save a life with hands-only CPR. If you see an adult suddenly collapse, just call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Learn more at handsonlycpr.org.
In scenes reminiscent of Wisconsin in the spring of 2011, riots are breaking out in a state capital. But it's not Madison this time, but Lansing, Michigan. In the state that was the cradle of the union movement, Michigan yesterday became the 24th state to enact a right-to-work law. Kristen Jones joins us now to discuss the details.
Michael, thank you. To begin, just what is a right-to-work law? What it means is that no one can be compelled to join a union as a condition for having a job. The workplace can be unionized, but no one may be compelled to join, nor may anyone have their paychecks attached for union dues without their affirmative consent. Right to work was a major news story in 2010 when the Obama administration attacked Boeing for its decision to build a 787 Dreamliner factory in South Carolina. South Carolina is a right-to-work state. Washington, where most Boeings are built, is a forced unionization state. Both sides are now furiously debating the issue. Which is better for workers?
The answer depends upon how you look at it. If it's strictly a matter of wages, then you're better off in a union. In forced union states, the average wage is just over $49,000 per year. In right-to-work states, the average wage is about $7,000 lower. But in the forced union states, the average unemployment rate is fully 2% higher. Higher wages are a great thing, but only if you actually have a job. In a pro-union state, it's less likely you do. We also find that states with right-to-work laws are performing much better economically.
According to multiple surveys, of the 10 states with the best growth rates, 9 of them are right-to-work states. Of the 10 states that are economically performing the worst, they are all forced union states. In addition, all 10 of the bottom performers also tax both personal and corporate income. Washington, the only non-right-to-work state in the top 10, does not tax either personal or corporate income.
So while unions are good for wages, they are indisputably bad for job growth. They are also bad for business growth. More and more businesses are following Boeing's lead, flowing away from forced union states and into right-to-work states. Foreign-owned businesses that build factories here also gravitate heavily to the right-to-work states. That in the end was what changed the mind of Governor Snyder. Snyder originally had no intention of signing such a law in his first term. But both Snyder and majority Republicans had heard too many stories about businesses leaving Michigan, or refusing to come to Michigan because of his state's union labor laws. With changes in competing states like Indiana, Michigan had to change.
Both organized labor and the Democratic Party have responded with frightening venom. Union thugs yesterday attacked a tent housing supporters of the bill near the Capitol building. When a group of concerned citizens tried to help, including a Fox News producer, they were physically attacked by the thugs, one of whom assaulted a Fox News employee with 4 punches to the head. Michigan unions, as in other places, have a long history of getting what they wanted by intimidating those who might oppose them. So the scores of pay goons that rioted around the Capitol yesterday should have come as no surprise. Because the law is a threat to union cash flow, the bosses reacted as one might have expected.
What was surprising, yet should not have been, is the reaction of Democratic leaders. One Democratic state legislator said that there will be blood. Remember, for Democrats, it has only a peripheral connection to what Democrats actually stand for. Organized labor provides a huge amount of the Democratic Party's funding. That funding comes from money confiscated from workers' paychecks. That's why organized labor is the lifeblood of the Democratic Party. Any threat to that cash flow is an existential threat to the Democratic Party. Cut off the blood flow and the victim dies.
That's a key reason why President Obama waded into a state issue yesterday. He attacked what he called an assault on the right to organize and called the bill a right to work for less money. But the president knows what is truly at stake here. Democrats like to claim that right to work is a backwards movement confined to the old Confederate South. But it's actually spread well beyond that. The Confederacy only had 11 states. More than twice that many now have right to work laws. More than half the nation's population now can refuse to join a union. Unions, meanwhile, at least in the private sector, continue to die. Where once 1 in 4 Americans belonged to a union in the private sector, today fewer than 1 in 11 does. Card check was about reversing that. When Obama failed to fight for it, he alienated labor. Now he's jumping at any chance to make amends.
Thanks, Kristen. The holidays draw close, so it's a great time for heroes and zeros. We'll have that when the broadcast continues in a moment.
No. Pain. Oh, is that my heart? My heart. My heart? No. It'll pass. 911. Could call 911. No. Ambulance. Couldn't do that. Sirens. Neighbors rushing over. Embarrassing. Too embarrassing. Maybe I'll feel better later. Oh.
Some people would rather die than call an ambulance. So that's exactly what they do.
When you drive for a living, you buckle up every time, whether you drive one of these or one of these. Truckers know what I'm talking about, because no matter how good a driver you are, trouble can still happen. That's when you want to keep your safety belt on to keep you steady, behind the wheel, in control, and looking out for everybody. Safety is a professional driver's responsibility. Remember, you're the one who drives for a living.
A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Time for heroes and zeros. Anyone can be gracious when they win. It's another thing to be gracious when you lose. Saturday night, boxing legend Manny Pacquiao suffered the most devastating defeat of his career. His opponent had been subjected to rumors of blood doping to increase his strength. But in his post-fight statement, Pac-Man first thanked God for seeing him and his opponent safely through the fight. He then simply said he'd gotten hit with a great punch he never saw because of his opponent's great strategy. Then he said he would fight Juan Manuel Marquez for a 5th time if the fans wanted it. Why? Because I'm a fighter, Pac-Man said. That's what I do. Manny Pacquiao is a hero. Barack Obama showed us that the Democratic Party has an ugly side and an uglier side. When he won re-election, he gloated and bragged. He immediately seized middle-class tax rates and held them hostage to his ideological demands for redistributionary tax policy. He treated the House Speaker with disdain and contempt, similar to his disgraceful behavior after winning his first term. Yesterday, we saw what happens when Democrats lose. Riots, violence, threats of bloodshed. And what did Barack Obama have to say about any of that? Absolutely nothing. Had members of the Tea Party behaved in that way, you would have heard plenty from this president, I'm sure. What Obama did do is rant like the sore loser he is when Republicans won a major legislative victory at the expense of his most important allies. So Barack Obama gets a 0. You have been assimilated.